So as I say, thank you so much for joining myself, Simon Clifford, and Leah Reevely from Cox and Kings. So Simon's our product manager and Leah is our senior travel consultant, also mainly focused on Europe, which is going to be a bit of a focus of today's webinar to introduce our new Spotlight tours. So hopefully you know all about Cox and Kings, and you've used us before. So very much about luxury tours and tailor-made holidays. And we've really sort of progressed with the history being the world's longest established travel company. So neither myself, Simon or Leah were around in 1758, but Richard Cox certainly was and became regimental agent to the armed forces. Then he merged with Henry S. King, and that's what formed Cox and Kings in 1920. So an interesting stat for you that we're the longest established travel company out there. The shipping company separated from banking and started to organise tours and passage of people. And we've been pioneers of tourism into India since 1970. So we've been operating worldwide travel and tours since 1986. So Cox and Kings, as I'm sure many of you already know, did join the Abercrombie & Kent family at the end of 2019. So the two brands fit together wonderfully. So we've got the premium luxury of Cox and Kings and the ultra luxury of Abercrombie & Kent. But with that said, also Abercrombie & Kent being nearly 60 years old as well, it's a long established brand. Very well known and very well thought of. Both brands have dedicated teams. So Leah works within the Europe team, so very specialist in that area to be able to help you with your clients' inquiries. We've got very strict health and hygiene guidelines. Now with Cox and Kings operating in around 100 countries worldwide, we are starting to use the DMC network of Abercrombie & Kent, of which we've got 55 offices worldwide in 32 countries. So with the company as a whole, for the client experience, it is very much about consistency. So if your client goes to Latin America, for example, with Cox and Kings, they should get the same sort of experience and attention to detail on their journey as they would if they went to Asia, just as an example. So you've got the full 24/7 emergency support for your clients. We've fared very well during the current crisis and last year. Having your own offices in many destinations means that you're close to local tourist authorities and governments, so we can work with them if there's any up and coming issues that we need to get clients removed from destination, for example. But we've also fared very well with Which magazine, where we scored very highly as a top travel company that looks after clients' monies. And from an agent perspective, our MD and our senior board will very much about protecting you as the agent to ensure that if refunds were needed, you weren't waiting too long. And we've had great feedback for that, actually. But in all fairness, we did manage to transfer at least 70% of our bookings across to new dates. And with that also, we do have very strong book with confidence messages. So we tried to make this industry leading. So they're on the screen there. So currently it's any bookings made until the end of April. We will change if there's any problems. We can change your client's holiday out to 15 days before departure. Where they can't change to a set date, we'll obviously still offer that credit note. And also in turn, like I just said, with refunds, if it does need to be refunded, then we'll look at that kindly for you as well. So yes, very good book with confidence message that we currently have. So hopefully the video works your end. So I'm just going to play a little intro video to bring it to life.
Experience adventure with Cox and Kings. For over 260 years, Cox and Kings have been the experts of choice for discerning travellers. Our small group tours are of the highest quality, designed for the culturally curious, for wildlife lovers, and for solo travellers. Alternatively, for independent travellers and adventurous families, our tailor-made private travel service is the perfect option. And we go beyond just the planning and booking. Our trusted expert guides will take complete care of you on your travels. We're always there when you need us. From the exotic, to the natural, to the cultural, Cox and Kings will take you on a meticulously planned guided adventure. See breathtaking landscapes, majestic wildlife, and timeless traditions travelling in style. Experience expert service, experience quality, experience adventure.
It's a little bit torturous seeing some of those lovely images, right? The places we want to get out and see. So hey, we're on a positive note at the moment. So let's hope we start traveling, get your clients traveling very soon as well. So our product overall, small group tours, very important. I'll come to the group sizes in just a moment. Multi-centre tailor-made holidays. As I said previously, we do operate in 100 countries worldwide. We've got a great selection of solo traveller tours as well. Arts and culture, rail journeys, small ship cruising. We can offer some self-drive itineraries, and for people wanting wildlife and safari holidays, we can certainly facilitate those. And then there is a section for private family adventures on our website as well, but our guys can obviously go through those with you. Now, group size is very important, and we keep that to a maximum of 18, but invariably the average is 14. So that's very important on a group. So it's about attention to your clients whilst they're conducting their journey. So you haven't got a coach load of 30 plus people on a Cox and Kings tour by any means. So that's very, very important to know. As I said before as well, we do have some solo traveller tours, and again maximum 18, average 14, and there's no single supplements on these, but they're not going to get the smallest room, the smallest bed in the hotel. We're going to give them a sole occupancy of a double, which is also very important for them. You see a note there down the bottom there that we have a lovely welcome and farewell dinner on most of our tours, and all the solo tours certainly, and that's very important. So all your clients are starting to network and build friendships from day one, rather than sort of seeing each other on the first day when they're stepping onto their transportation. So that's a great welcome to their tour, and also a nice farewell dinner at the end as well. Another little video. This is quite India centric, but it's just really to bring to life what a Cox and Kings tour, with some lovely client feedback as well, what it's about.
One of those things that one day I'll go to India. And you read and you watch films, and you know, for one reason or another, getting ill or something. So I thought, if I don't do it now, I never will, so why not? And you just, I don't know, just one moment I just thought, well, what am I waiting for?
You only live once. Don't put up barriers to something that you're slightly nervous with. Just jump in and do it. You'll be surprised.
You have to come to India. You just cannot imagine it. There's nothing, there aren't any words that can describe what this place is like. The fact that it's been managed and all you've really got to do is turn up and your hand is held, it's excellent. It's
just felt that everything's been taken care of, so, you know, it's the easiest way to travel, really.
The best part about travelling solo is
you can do as much or as little, or be with the group or be on your own. The guide is very clear about that. As long as he knows where you are, he doesn't mind you doing that.
I reckon I had the best Indian meal I've ever had. It was ridiculously wonderful.
We all have come for the same purpose, to see India and see what India has to offer. You're meeting people that you wouldn't normally meet, and that's interesting. You hear other people's stories.
My father came to India in the late 50s, and he really did fall in love. So it's been a kind of a bucket list item, and walking in the old man's footsteps. And I understand why he loved it. And I'm just annoyed I didn't come sooner, and even more annoyed I didn't come with him, because he'd have paid for it. But you can't have everything, can you?
There you go. So it gives a bit of an insight to what our clients say, very typical Cox and Kings customers on that. Just to cover off the tour categories, most Cox and Kings tours do fall into the 4 to 5 star accommodation category, but we do also have the luxury 5-star deluxe accommodation tours as well. So there may be a few examples on the website for you. We have the standard simpler and emphasis itineraries, which could be 3 to 4 star accommodation or best available. And then there are some tours which are called Discovery, and we only want your adventurous clients on these because, as you see on the text there, some of the journeys are going to be a bit more arduous and rougher roads, so there's going to be a bit more off the beaten track, so there's plenty of those for your clients to look over. So as I said, high quality accommodation. This is the Taj Lake Palace in Udaipur. It's one of my favorite cities, actually. Beautiful mountain drop around this beautiful lake as well, so we always look for hotels of very good quality, boutique, and with character as well. So from a group tour perspective, these are our top 10 selling tours. So I'll just leave this for a moment for you to jot down if it was something you're looking at pushing. But yeah, India is what Cox and Kings is very synonymous with. Sri Lanka, Latin America, the train to Machu Picchu, with Russia as well, which Simon will relate to in just a moment, because we are going to focus on Europe moving forward on our spotlight tours. It's very, very popular. I believe it makes a good 80% of what we do for Europe at the moment. Well, 2019 stats anyway. Jordan, that's starting to really pick up. Egypt and Jordan is certainly an area that people are interested in. And then, of course, Safari Garden Route in the Western Cape, and of course Japan. So that's starting to have a bit of a interest for early 2022, with certainly the cherry blossoms end of March, beginning of April, or even the autumn. So mid-October onwards would be great for Japan. It's my favourite country, actually. And then classic Sicily, which Simon will also go through. So I'm going to hand over to Simon, who's our product manager. Absolutely amazing product knowledge, and he actually put these tours together for Cox and Kings. So this is really, really interesting new product that we have. So hopefully, Simon, you'll be able to take control now.
I think I already can. Just to say, Mark, it's been very slow for me, the slideshow. So it might be that you have to move the slides on for me. So I might go Chris Whitty on you and tell you I need the next slide. Let's see how I go.
Next slide.
But yeah, the video and stuff was a bit jumpy, so let's see how we go. So morning everyone. As Mark said, I am the product manager for Europe, and then Leah is with me as well. She's our girl on the ground in sales, so it's really good to have her with us as well, so you sort of get a face to who you'd actually be speaking to. Just to mention as well, there's also Lydia on the team as well. And she also comes with excellent experience. So to move on, these are our spotlight tours, which I'm going to go through. It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I try and cover all these destinations, and then at the end, we're going to go through some of our best-selling, more unusual corners of Eastern Europe. So to give you an idea of some of our group tours as well. A little bit slow, so I think it's not worked, and I pressed the button and it does work. Okay, so just to give you guys the sort of roundup of exactly what the spotlight tours are and what we're hoping to achieve through these, is we've been listening to clients and to agents and doing a lot of research during these quieter times, and the feedback we're getting is for those who are still wanting to join groups for maybe later this year or 2022, is that we have clients who don't want to travel around as much. So the idea of the spotlight tours is that these will be center-based, usually in destinations that our clients and yourselves are more familiar with, so predominantly Western Europe. And the idea being that they stay at one hotel, and then they're doing excursions from there. And then all the destinations bar the Azores, which I will cover, use direct flights, usually with regional connections, good regional connections, or direct flights as well. So the idea is to try and sort of let people experience something new in a destination that they think they know, and then also without sort of traveling too much. So from that point of view, the portfolio is quite unique. These are group tours, and they are, as I said, they'll have set date departures, but we really want to emphasize to you that all of these can be done privately as well. So if you have just a couple that want to do them, or if you have an extended family, that's what we think. That's another thing we're getting feedback from, is that people are traveling more with larger groups in the family instead of with other individuals. So we can tailor make any of these to suit clients' needs. So to cover the destinations that we cover on these new Spotlight tours, we have Portugal, which is the Azores, Spain, where we are going to the north, so Bilbao and the Basque Country, Malta and Gozo, Slovenia, Greece, which is Avia and Athens, the Veneto region of Italy, and then the Western Aegean region of Turkey. Okay, so I'm going to sort of fly through all of these. It's quite a lot of information, so do bear with me. Our first stop is Slovenia. So the Spotlight on Slovenia tour, which has a starting price as part of the group of 1,545. Just to mention as well with the group tours, is you'll have remembered from Mark's introduction that all our group tours now are 18. They used to be 25. So we dropped the group tours, but for these Spotlight tours, we're dropping it even further, and the maximum group size on all the Spotlight tours will only be 14. And any solo travelers will have those double occupancy, sole occupancy of a double room as per the solo tours. So the Slovenia tour starts at 1,545. Now, this is the only group tour on the UK market at the moment for Slovenia. There's a couple of lakes and mountains tours, I think, with the likes of Ingham's, but this is more cultural based. So why Slovenia? Well, we consider it a safe, stable destination close to the UK and receives far fewer tourists than the likes of Italy and Croatia. You do have direct flights from Stansted and Gatwick, and then there's also good connections through Amsterdam and Frankfurt. And as I said, it's unique on the market, and Condé Nast made Slovenia their #1 destination for 21. Probably not known that not many people are going to be traveling. We also have an excellent local operator there in Slovenia. And the big thing with Slovenia is that it's small, and Ljubljana, the capital where the tour starts, is central to the country. So being able to sort of travel out in all different directions is really easy on day excursions. So to quickly run through the week-long itinerary, all the tours are between 7 and 8 days. So this one, you've got a pretty standard walking tour of the capital, Ljubljana, including a river cruise and a visit to the castle. Then we move on to the lake region, which is what other operators predominantly cover, but we do in a day with the cable car ride. All our tours, all the Spotlight tours include a free day where clients can either relax at the hotel, or they can, we're offering some set excursions on those days as well. Day 5 is a beekeeping tour. Slovenia is particularly famous for honey production. So that is done across the rooftops of Ljubljana, so they enjoy some great views. There's a free afternoon. Day 6, they visit the Poštenica caves and then travel to the coastal town of Piran, and then return for the farewell dinner that we've mentioned in the introduction. So they have that at the JB restaurant, which is a Michelin-starred restaurant. So you'll see there's a mixture here of culture, of nature, and then also some free time for the clients to relax and do their own thing. So to give you the highlight, these are called, all the highlights on our tours are known as the Cox and Kings signature experiences. So I think I've mentioned those in the itinerary there. You've got the beekeeping, farewell gourmet dinner, the historic tour of the market, and the caves. So moving on to the hotel, I'll cover this hotel in a little more detail and then just sort of show you the other hotels as we move along. The idea with the hotels on these tours is slightly different from our group tours. So our group tours tend to be smaller properties, often privately owned, and they offer sort of more character. What we've changed to slightly on these tours from the more regular hotels is that they might be slightly larger. And this will be, firstly, is to do with that our clients are there for a whole week. So we want to give them a bit more space and a bit more comfort. So maybe some lounge areas, a bigger bar, a larger restaurant means that our clients can have a dedicated space for breakfast. A lot of the hotels outside cities, Slovenia isn't one of these, but as I move in, you'll see they have gardens, terrace, a pool, but none of the hotels have more than 200 rooms. So they're not enormous, 500 room resort hotels. They're still fairly small, but they just offer our clients a bit more space and comfort. So the Salon Hotel is part of the Best Western chain, but it's only recently had a refit and is one of their sort of higher end brands. It's a lovely bar area, it has a spa, and the room there is good size, double room, fresh and modern. So moving on to the Basque Country, so northern Spain, and that's, Mark, I can't see the price on this, it's cut off. Is it 1545 as well?
Whoops. 1595. Apologies.
1595. Okay, sorry, yeah, because my screen's not sort of loading the whole page. It was cutting off. Okay, so this one's slightly more than Slovenia, but still all the tours are in this sort of price bracket. There we go. So why have we chosen the Basque Country? So again, we've got lots of direct flights to Bilbao. It's been very popular in recent years. There's easy access to lots of sites of interest within the city, with good airport connections and then good motorway connections as well. So we can cover quite a large area, but still be based in Bilbao. And this tour also can be combined with our Splendors of Andalusia tour. Obviously, Spain has a great train connection, so getting down to Andalusia is easy, or it could be combined with a city break in Madrid. So just to quickly highlight some of the highlights of the group tour here. It's a half-day tour of Bilbao with a private tour of the Guggenheim Art Museum, and then a food tour in the afternoon. Then a couple of days of full-day excursions. So one to San Sebastian, so another city-based excursion, and then into rural Basque. So they will visit into the sort of more mountainous parts along the rugged coast there, and visit a farm for cheese tasting. Day 5 is a free day to enjoy Bilbao. And then day 6 is another excursion to one UNESCO World Heritage City of Burgos, and then return to London. So just to point out the highlights on this one is the cheese farm. And if you can pronounce the name of the farm, you're better than I am at Basque language, which is unique. And then a cable car ride in San Sebastian, and then the Pixtos tour in Bilbao. And again, a fresh, modern, centre-based hotel, slightly larger, but still in a great location to be able to go out and explore. Clients can go out and explore the city independently. So Veneto, this region of Italy is obviously home to Venice. And the Veneto region, interesting fact, is 90% of all tourists that go to Veneto only go to Venice. Yet the region has so much more to offer, and that was what we had in mind. We feel that a lot of our kind of Cox and Kings clients would have been to Venice. So the idea is to give them somewhere that's give them a chance to explore more of the region. And I think this tour is a really nice mix of that culture and rural exploration that I talked about. Slightly more expensive tour, but a great standard of hotel. So I've covered most of this as to why it's why we've decided to do a tour here. The other big selling point here is the really good airport connections. So clients can fly direct to Venice, Verona, or Milan, and all easy access to the hotel. The group tour will be through to Venice, but we can organise private transfers from Verona or Milan if it's easier for your clients. And again, like I said, a really nice mix. And a bit like in Spain, this one can easily be combined with any of our Italy group tours. We have tried to coincide dates of group departures, and it can also be coincided with the Slovenia tour as well. So our tours twice. So moving on. So, oh, apologies. The flight here is Verona, not Venice. and they stay in the small town of Castelfranco Veneto. So this tour, they go to Padua, which is a famous university town, and visit a winery. Day 3, there's a risotto cooking class in an historic town, which has a 14th century rice mill. A day of leisure, so clients at this day can go to Venice if they so wish. It's a very easy connection by train, only 40 minutes. And then a full day tour of Verona and Vicenza. Day 6 is the Prosecco Hills, so that's a nice bit of wine tasting there, which our clients always love. And then day 7, they're on the booze again, with a grappa tasting in the town of Grappa, which is in the foothills of the Alps. So they go up into a slightly more mountainous region. And all this is accessible from the town. So a couple of the highlights there, you've got the risotto cooking class, the wine tasting in the Prosecco Hills, the grappa and distillery visit, and also the Palladia Villa, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site there in the top picture. This hotel is the Hotel alla Torre, lovely sort of, a typical Italian historic hotel. It's right on the main square of the town. You've got the medieval towers, and it's a great place to go out and explore. There's lovely bars, restaurants nearby. So this really is a great hotel for clients who want to stay somewhere that feels a lot more local, a lot less touristy, but still get that really Italian authentic experience. So moving swiftly on, jumping around now. So we move on to Turkey. This is our best priced tour, 1295. Turkey we brought back a few years ago, and we've seen a really good consistent growth. And it's just a really great destination. We've got good connections to Izmir from lots of regions, as well as London, obviously. And you've got a really nice mix here, again, of those sort of cultural attractions. And we can easily combine this with a fantastic city break in Istanbul, or there are also now direct flights over to Cappadocia. And the accommodation here, I think, is one of my favorites, but I will show you that a bit later on. So to cover what we do here, the clients transfer to Serince, which is the historical hill village that they stay in. Very secluded, so great for anyone who's a little bit concerned about being in a busy destination. A bit more cultural based on this tour, not surprisingly, knowing this region. So they'll visit Ephesus. Then day 3 is a bit more relaxed with wine tasting. Day 4, they do Pamukkale and the Hierapolis. And then a free day, like we have on all the group tours, Didyma, and then Turkish bath experience with free time, and then that's the end of the tour. So a really great selling point on this is in Ephesus. Now, I visited Ephesus a couple of years ago and was a bit of a guinea pig for a new virtual reality system that they're using. So if any of you have been to Ephesus, you'll know it's a town with ruins in its own right. But our clients will wear head glasses, and as they walk through the town, they walk through it and can see it how it used to be. It really brings the whole area to life. It gives clients a chance to see what it's like, and it's a really nice signature experience that we're offering, along with the wine tasting and the Turkish bath experience. So the hotel is really lovely, privately owned hotel. It's family run. We do offer cooking classes on the free day with the owner. And you'll see these lovely sort of traditional rooms, a fantastic terrace where they can have breakfast and dinner overlooking the village. Okay, so on to the Azores. The Azores is a new destination for us. We were quite keen to have a completely new destination for Cox and Kings as part of the Spotlight tours. So we went with the Azores, priced there at 1695. There are some direct flights with Ryanair, but we think they're stopping the flights so that there are still good connections through Lisbon and Porto. And it's a destination, again, that doesn't receive a huge number of tourists, about 625,000 compared to Iceland, which is obviously another famous Atlantic destination, which receives 2.1 million. So it's much quieter, which is another really good selling point in the current current climate that we're working with. So to cover what we do on this tour, there is the flight time, which is approximately 5 hours, taking into fact the indirect flight. The clients stay in Ponta Delgada, which is the sort of capital of San Miguel and the region as a whole. They have a city tour with free afternoon. And then this tour, unlike the Turkey tour, this one's a bit more nature-based. So on this tour, we include visits to the geothermal lakes, similar to what you would find in Iceland, but a completely different environment. Very green, very lush, very unique flora and fauna, which they'll visit in the botanical gardens, and they visit one of Europe's only tea plantations. So tea can be grown. Day 4 is the Jeep Safari. Day 5, they do whale watching. And day 6 is a free day to either explore the island in more detail, or they can do a private excursion by plane to one of the smaller islands. So this one, as you can see, is quite busy, quite packed, with a much more of a focus on nature. So some of the highlights, I mentioned the nature, but there's also some alcohol involved, which is always good. So they'll do a gin tasting at the only gin distillery on the Azores. I'll have a go picking tea and have a good cuppa. And they also visit a cheese farm. So that's some of the unique experiences they'll enjoy. Now this hotel as well, again, this is showing you the kind of property that we're moving to on these spotlight tours. So slightly larger, as you can see, but you've got a nice sized room, a bit of a balcony, good pool, garden, sun loungers, outdoor bar. So just giving clients more space. Okay. Just got a message here from Pam, sorry, who went to the Azores on an amazing van trip. So we'll cut back to Pam at the end, and maybe she could just give us a little bit of an input on what she thinks of the itinerary at the end. So Pam, just remind me at the end, because I talk. So spotlight on Athens and Avia. The idea with Greece, Greece is somewhere that even the press has been talking about in the last couple of days. Is that's a destination that we've seen people interested in. I think a lot of this will be to the islands. So we wanted to try and do something that was a bit more unique. So we've included the capital, Athens, and then they go to Avia. And Avia is the second largest Greek island after Crete, right next to the mainland. So we wanted to try and offer something a bit different. But of course, because it's based from Athens, there's lots of direct flights. And this one, I'll show you the accommodation at the end, but this one actually is a half-board tour. This is the only one that's half-board. When you see the hotel, you'll probably understand why that works so well. So to cover quickly what we do on this tour, Avia, although it's an island, it is connected by a bridge. So the connection time from the airport is only 80 minutes, which is not much different from the connection into central Athens. We include a tour of the historic main town on the island. Halkidna, the sea is silent in Greek, I've learned. And then they'll do a wonderful sailing trip on day 3 up through the Straits of Avia, the straits between the mainland and the island. A free day to enjoy probably some beach time. And then day 5, they explore the island a bit more. It's a very rugged, mountainous island. It's popular with hiking, but they'll go up to the vineyards, which I'll show you a picture of in a minute, which are lovely. And then day 6 is a full day tour of Athens. And we've included a Greek coffee workshop. It's a little bit of an extra thing that's a bit unique there. So there's the vineyards that they visit right on the hills over the sea. That's one of the signature experiences, along with the coffee tasting and the sailing tour, which includes a barbecue lunch and time to swim. So the hotel, this is the largest of the hotels we use. I think this is about 190 rooms, but this comes as, it's a 5-star hotel. It's not right in the town, so that's why we have it on a half-board basis, but you can see the size of it. You can also see it's right on the beach. It does have a private beach. It's got a huge pool, but because it's got a big pool and a big land area compared to the number of rooms, it is quite spacious. So clients can quite easily be spaced away if there's any concerns there. but it's only about 3 kilometers to the town, so a taxi is very easy if they want to have an evening in the main town there on Avia. So we're nearly there. We're on the home stretch, guys. So we move on to Malta, priced here at 1,395, and this obviously covers Malta and Gozo. We went with Malta. It's obviously an absolute staple with the British market. It's considered very safe. People like the sort of home comforts that Malta can bring. Loads of regional connections. I think there are direct flights from almost every small airport in the UK, which is fantastic for Malta. And it's a small destination, so you can easily visit the whole country in 1 week. And also Malta is a country that's really pushing, the Maltese Tourist Board are really pushing to try and bring more culture and history into the tour, into their destination, and a bit less of this fly and flop. So that's what we're trying to focus on. So clients obviously fly to Malta, they transfer to the hotel, which is in St. Julian's. I'll show you that in a moment. They have a walking tour of Valletta with lunch in a wonderful historic restaurant right in the walls of Valletta itself. Day 3 is a 3-city tour by electric buggy, which I will show you on the signature experience page, and then a traditional boat tour. Day 4 is a free day to relax, enjoy the hotel. Day 5, they do a tuk-tuk tour of Gozo with lunch. And then day 6 is a more historic day, exploring some of the temples and the historic villages and colourful boats that Malta is so famous for. Oh, don't stick with me now, we've done so well. Yes, there we go. So, as you'll see, we've got these little buggies that they use on the 3-city tour. These are self-drive, so good luck with them. But they do, they follow the main driver. They are connected by the microphones, so they can hear the guide. And then there's a mouse pad, an iPad at the front, so they've got the navigation on there. And these are just golf buggies, so they're very easy to drive. But it means they can cover more area, and it just adds something a bit unique and a bit fun to a walking tour. And then on Gozo, they don't drive the tuk-tuks. They do have a tuk-tuk driver, but it's just a nice way to get around the island. Our hotel here is the waterfront. Sorry, I missed it. It was St. Julian's. It's in Salima. But you've got a good-sized pool, and then down the stairs onto a platform to swim, because obviously there aren't too many beaches in Malta, but a lovely, fresh, modern hotel. And that is the end of the Spotlight Tours. So we'll take any questions afterwards. I just want to cover some of our group tours. What we've been finding in recent years, and I think will still be the case, is that the Eastern Europe and Central Asia tours are really popular. So a couple of things just to cover that are different from the Spotlight tours. If any of you are already selling Cox and Kings, you'll know this, but so the group sizes are larger, so they've gone from 14 to 18, and they are traveling around. We tend to try and avoid staying one night in destination, but that isn't always possible. So I just want to cover some of the best-selling tours that we offer in this region. As Mark said at the beginning, Russia accounts for a massive part of our portfolio there. About 80% of the Europe clients of Europe group tour are going on a Russia tour. So we're real experts in this region. I visited the country many times and know it well. And then other popular tours are Romania and the Caucasus. I think these group tours sell so well compared to some of our tours in Western Europe, purely because it's not places clients know. So they want to have their hand held a little bit. And that's where group tour works so well, as the ladies are mentioning on the videos at the beginning there. And then we're also going to just quickly cover the Uzbekistan tour as well. That's where I might pull Leah in, and she can talk a little bit about some of those destinations. So our classic tour, as we mentioned before, all the group tours can be sold privately as well. So the group tour starts from 1,325, which is one of the best value Russian tours on the market. And the private version is 1,795. So I put the group tour there as 22. This is an old slide. It's actually 18, sorry. Yeah, I pulled that in from last year, but that has gone down. And obviously this covers Moscow and St. Petersburg, really great central 5-star hotels. The hotel in Moscow you can't rival. Its breakfast room has views of the Kremlin walls, so it's such a good location. Just to mention some of the highlights on the tour is obviously the Kremlin, Moscow Metro, the Hermitage. So just give you some of the pictures. I'm just going to whistle through these quite quickly. So you've got Red Square, which obviously is one of the most famous squares in the world. The GUM department stores, they'll see the wonderful ornate Moscow Metro. And then we try and include, like we have in other tours, is something a bit unique. So this is the Space Museum in Moscow, which they can visit as an optional excursion. Gives the sort of other side of the story of the space race, which Russia was extremely successful in. But it's these kind of unique tours that I think make us a bit different, trying to offer our clients something different. And then you've got the famous Soviet bunkers as well under the city, so clients can go and have a sort of Cold War tour as well. And then St. Petersburg, we've got the wonderful Hermitage Art Gallery, all the canals, and then the Peterhof, which is sort of their Windsor Castle, so it's out of the city a little bit, but they travel by hydrofoil to avoid the traffic. So you see this wonderful palace with these incredible gardens. Their equivalent of Harrods, the names escape me right this minute, but yeah, they go and visit this. And then Romania, as we mentioned, that's one of our really popular tours as well. Romania is not the easiest country to travel around in, so a group tour is a really good way to see it. The group tour starts from 1295, and then the private tour is 1965. And then again, the group tour's gone down a little bit to 18. All the hotels are centrally located, and we cover a lot of the sort of classic destinations here that you've probably heard of, like the Bram Castle. So they'll visit Bucharest. They do a wine tasting, that's new for 2022. Sigosware, which is a lovely, beautiful sort of old town with cobbled streets, colourful houses, very cute Saxon architecture. And then the famous Bram Castle of Dracula. But really, even if it didn't have this story, the natural setting of this castle is so beautiful. And they also visit one of the salt mines, these colossal salt mines that they built, dug out in Romania. And then the Southern Caucasus, this is one of our most successful tours of the last few years. We're one of the few on the market that actually covers all 3 countries, Azerbaijan, Georgia and Armenia in the tour. A lot of the group tours out there on the market only cover Georgia and Armenia, and then Azerbaijan as an extension. But we've included all 3 and it's paid off handsomely. It sells well. Maximum group size 18, starting from 2095, and then the private version at 2785. So to give you some of the highlights, Azerbaijan is oil-rich Muslim country, and it really sort of feels like that when you're there. It's definitely got a sort of Arabic flavour to it, as well as all this wonderful modern architecture, which mixes in with the ancient. As you can see, you've got these wonderful old mosques and bathhouses and these vast skyscrapers behind. And Georgia, famous for so many things really, but the Caucasus Mountains are absolutely stunning. The client spent 2 nights up in the mountains. Tbilisi is famous for its unique architecture, which has all been beautifully restored. And then Yerevan, the capital of Armenia, is sort of in the foothills of Mount Ararat, and again, quite unique. Those are this sort of pink stone architecture. And then they will do some cooking classes along the way. And this is a traditional lavish bread, which they bake on the side of these hot ovens. So they'll have a go at making things like that. So our clients want to be a little bit more hands-on. Jumping through to Uzbekistan. So the group tour is 1995, and then the group size is 18. Leah, do you want to just sort of step in here and mention some of the highlights in Uzbekistan? Because I think you did something, part of this recently?
Yeah, definitely. I've visited on a different type of itinerary by private train, but have done all of the main cities in Uzbekistan. So yeah, this tour is starting with the direct flights into Tashkent, and then traveling on from there to Khiva, Bukhara, and then ending in Samarkand, which is definitely the highlight for any traveller. Maybe I've gone too quick for your slides.
No, you haven't. I was just sort of saying that, yeah, because you don't know what the slides look like.
I don't know what's coming.
So these are just some of the pictures of where they go.
So I think a lot of people think, yeah, Uzbekistan, you're going to get blue tiles everywhere you go, but it's absolutely stunning. I don't really think there's anywhere quite like it. So this picture here of Registan Square, and yeah, this is certainly the highlight. So this is where the tour is ending up in Samarkand at the end. But before you get there, you have a short introduction to the history of the country. It's a fairly new country and quite a young population, so all of the guides are quite young. That's I found really interesting. But the Silk Road history and the ancient history as well. So starting from Khiva, which is one of the smaller cities.
Here's my next slide. No.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go. So this is one of the smaller, and it's all completely a walled city. So they stay in a hotel just outside of the gates, which is quite nice. And you just literally walk across the road, and you get transported back into this really old city. So from there, they then take, they go by road to Bukhara, which is quite a long journey. That's always one that we have, some questions from clients. It's about 8 hours by road through the desert. So this is a discovery tour. As Mark had mentioned at the beginning, our discovery tours are for a bit more adventurous clients. The hotels are still, best available, good 4-star standard, but you do need a sense of adventure for this tour. It's not maybe the same as touring in India with us or any of the European tours that we've seen so far.
I would just probably point out, I'm sure Leah would agree with me, is what feels like almost a complete lack of tourists. So you go to these places and there'll be maybe one other tour group wandering around. It is still quite a sort of undiscovered destination. It's growing in popularity, but it's still not as busy as other places. Before I went, someone said to me, if Uzbekistan was in Eastern Europe or Southeast Asia, it would be packed with tourists.
Yeah.
Because of its location, and the big advantage from London is that we do have direct flights, is that it's such a remote destination that it doesn't have the tourists anything like what we see in other parts of the world.
Yeah, it's certainly the case. We've seen a huge increase in, I think since Joanna Lumley's Silk Road tour, we've seen a hell of a lot of increase for those destinations. But certainly our Uzbekistan is one of the more popular itineraries and often does sell out. So we're hoping, certainly for last year, this was the case. And a lot of the clients that were cancelled last year have then all kind of rebooked over to later this year into 2022. So yeah, do bear in mind availability for this one.
Great. I think that's the last slide. Oh yeah, it's just to mention, just as a quick roundup, where we've been talking for quite a while now, it's just some of the other tours that we offer there on the slide, which run a sort of similar way. So Sicily, Puglia Basilicata, Spain, the Baltic states, Albania, Belarus, which is a new tour for us, Kosovo, North Macedonia, also a new tour, Turkey and Greece. So I think we've got a nice balance there. I think we're catering for a lot of different clients there. You'll have clients who want to go to sort of destinations that they know, like Italy and Greece. And then there'll be other people who think, right, well, I want to avoid the crowds. So anyone who wants to avoid the crowds, we can push them on to places like Belarus, Kosovo, Uzbekistan, places that just aren't going to probably need our tourism more, need our clients more than ever, but also aren't going to see like a massive boom of tourists going back. So these are the times to discover some of these destinations. Mark, that is my last slide.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Thanks as well, Leah, really appreciate that. These are our contact details here. I've left Simon's off because obviously we can just go through Leah. You can go through myself, and Sarah Turner is currently on furlough, so can't wait to have Sarah back. But there's her contact details there. But anything sort of trade support wise, let me know. But you've got Leah's email there. We've got
please send me an email if your clients have got any questions on any of the tours we've spoken about. I deal with Europe and Middle East.
Perfect, thank you, Leah, appreciate it. So I will just stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to